Hi there, this is Cherry. Now, I have promised that I will do a test shot with the RAW file using 5D Mark IV, and today, finally, at Mid-Autumn Festival, I can do that. I hope you'll enjoy it. I will be talking about what card should you be using, because there's the SD and CF slot. For a lot of you who have not used both cards together before, that will be about that, and I hope you will enjoy this. So I will be taking a picture with ISO 100 as our starting point, because that would be one of the sharper ISO, and then we will start from 640 ISO, because that's almost the highest that I would go most of the time using 5D Mark III. So we're going to take a look at how I'm going to like it in 5D Mark IV. So we just finished shooting, and now we're going to process it on Canon's native program. And honestly, I have used it for printing before, but I've never used it to process image. We are going to use Canon Digital Photo Professional. It's really hard to say the words. We're going to look into it here. I look like all did. All right, let's see here. Yep, they are all these images. You can double click on the image. Now just locate your file first, right? This is my file. This is the YouTube video test. I'm going to click on the image, and you can click quick check. And what is very interesting here is you can click on AF points, and I'm roughly right around this eye corner with the eyebrow, so I should be pretty okay. I'm not used to it yet. Yeah. So I have zero makeup. You can see all the blemishes, but I'm happy with the focus. This one is shot at ISO 100. Can we make it even bigger? Whoa, that's just too big. But let's check it. Now remember, this is 400 times we have magnifying it. And I use a super slow ISO shutter speed because I didn't want to use any artificial light. The light flickers, the one that I have is a tungsten light. Although it's daylight, it flickers, and it doesn't really give us a very accurate comparison. So I think I moved a little bit. And remember, it's 400 times of magnifying. If we see it as normal, relatively, even 200, it's quite sharp. I should have done it with a faster shutter speed. All right, let's take a look at the higher ISO, because that's what this test is all about. I want to see bigger, higher ISO. So I started with 640 because that's what I usually shoot, and with shutter speed 1/60th second, it should be fine. Aperture 3.2. All right, let's take a look at this. I'm seeing it with you guys. I have no idea if everything is focused or not. So AF, perfect. It's right on the iris or the eyeball. Whoa, so close. Yep, you can see every freaking thing. Now, obviously, I had moved a little bit, and the focus was a bit earlier in ISO 100. It was more to the corner. This one is right at the edge, so it's sharp and clear. Doesn't have a lot of color shift. Again, I'm on 400. I should be watching it. 200 is good enough to see. So the eyelashes are quite sharp. Now, remember, this image has not been processed yet. If you have been used to shooting with JPEG, then you will not be used to seeing RAW for a very long period of time. I did not understand the point of using RAW until I just put my foot down and said, I'm going to learn it. Everybody is using it. There has to be a reason. But usually when you first see RAW, you'll get disappointed because it looks a bit muddy. It's not sharp. Oh my good lord, how many pimples do I have on my face? All that you can see clearly, the pores. It's good. Lots of really good data to use. Not a lot of color shift. The thing with high ISO sometimes is you see patches of color just clutter in a certain places, like some red here and a clutter of red and then lines. This one's good. Alright, let's look at another one. We're really just quick checking as well. So this is perfect for us. Oops, that's not the right one. AF point. Oh, it's a little bit shifted. It's really hard when I'm taking pictures for myself, especially for close up. Let's do 200. With DPP, what I realized is you need to give it a bit of time to process it. The focus is a little soft, I have to admit. I think it's reading right around here instead of right here because I shifted. I'm happy with it. I have to admit I need to process it to see. I'm not used to using DPP as well. But if you come back to, it doesn't have full screen. No, sorry, that's not what I wanted. I wanted, oh, here, this is it. So at 100%. I'm happy. You can see the strand of hair. The color shift is okay. It's quite smooth. Look at this area from light to shadow here. You don't see patches of color. Yeah, it's good. Now we are at 1250 ISO. I would not use that on, I have previously owned a Mark II. I will never do that with Mark II. And with Mark III, I have used it and it's okay. What I'm looking for is, I'm probably not saying how perfect it is because it's not processed yet, but I'm just seeing if it's too ugly or not. That's perhaps what I'm looking for. Let's look at this one. This one is at ISO 2500. I know it sounds a little dry. If you don't understand what I'm doing, I'm probably not understanding what I'm doing. But I'm just, most of the time when I look at an image, I look at, is there any problem? Is there any problem that will hinder my later editing? Patches of color and color shift, humongous pixels are a little bit problematic for me when I edit, especially when I have skin blemishes like this. So I'm looking for problem more than praising how good it is, because I really can't see it's in RAW. Let's look at 100. Oh shoot, this one is not even focused. Let's look at another one then. I try to have a mono expression so that it's not going to change that much from one image to another. Quick check. We are now looking at ISO 5000, 1/500 second. And then we're going to check AF1. Again, a little bit shifted focus. I kicked the tripod, so not purposefully, but I was going back and forth. Let's check at 100. You need to give it a little time. You see it a little bit. You see the pixels already. You see some color. You see some green here, some red here. You start seeing the pixel bricks a little bit. But you know what? Sometimes if I have to shoot in ambient lights, that means whatever light is available, especially at night, I'll be happy with a picture like this. Because we're using ISO 1000. We can't just look at an image and say, wow, that's a big pixel. You need to remember what we are shooting. We're shooting at 100, we're shooting at 5000 ISO, which is huge. You can never do that with film. I've never do it with film. The biggest I have ever gone for is probably 400 ISO. What is really funny is you start losing my wrinkles on the forehead. My mom always teased, not my mom, someone else said that my forehead is like orange peel. That's not very nice. Breaks my heart. Anyways, for some reason my skin looks smoother because the bigger pixels, you don't pick up all those tiny little blemishes anymore. You see all these pimples are not as severe anymore with higher ISO. Let's go back. I must warn people about this video before they watch it. Why is he so dry? This is what you guys asked for. You want high ISO? That's what I'm gonna give you. Yeah. Alright, again, it's focusing on the eyebrows. Now you can obviously see much bigger pixel. Now, bigger pixel doesn't mean bad. It depends if that's something that you're looking for. Some people like bigger noises, like all these, you know, all these tiny little dots. Some people like it because it gives that film feeling, like back in the time when you shoot with real film. So some people are looking for this, and it's quite pretty. If you look here, even though you see big pixels, they're not patches of different colors. A little bit of greenish thing here, and you see the breaking line here because they're bigger pixels. So you start seeing. But it's more poetic. Actually, I quite like 10,000. Is it 10,000? Yeah, 1,000, 10,000. I don't mind it at all. It really depends on your style and what you're shooting. You probably don't want such a high ISO for food photography. But I think portrait is not a big problem using higher ISO. Let's check. Now you don't even have to expand this one. You see the big pixels and you see patches of colors all across my chest. Quick check. I don't have to magnify it. You see here? You see humongous pixels? Like, it looks like there's a lot of sand here. Should I say pixel? There are more noises. They're not bigger pixels. There are more noises. But I don't mind it. The problem is not so much are they grainy or not. Sometimes that's the effect people go for. If you flip through a magazine, not all images are that sharp. Some images are very grainy. People like that effect. They like the noise there. The question is, do you have a lot of color shifts there? Are there patches of red and green all around your face? Now here you see the breaking points even bigger. It's not even like a shift here. You see a lot of you see that? You see, like, follow my arrow. You see all these breaking points? It makes the editing a little bit more problematic. You need to rub in the color and then add the noises again to do it. But my forehead is even smoother here. Again, the pimples are not half as severe now. The redness is not showing anymore. So it really depends on what you're looking for. Is that all that we have? Oh, we have the last one. So in this video, everything goes up to 3. So instead of using the next ISO, I jumped 3 points. So that should be 1 stop. ISO as well, I shift 1, 2, 3. So I increased by 3. You can clearly see the noises here in the dark area. Do you see the redness of it? And the green color here, the red all around. But this is at 32,000 ISO. Okay? Okay. Oh, actually, upon seeing. Now, this is what I was saying earlier. You need to let DVP process it. It takes a second or two. So for sure, they are a lot grainier, but in quite a pretty way. I wouldn't mind this at all if I do travel portraits. Here again, you see the line. You see a bit of redness. But the redness, as I was talking about earlier on the dark screen at the back, cannot be seen. Guess it just needed a bit of time to process it. I'm generally quite happy with it. I like the high ISO here. I do not like the high ISO on my Mark II because it's actually quite ugly. Let's take a look at now this looks really bad. I guess it's just a preview. I want to, let's look here. I think we need to give it a second. You see patches of red and green. I think it's just not. I'm having a bit of problem with the program. Oh, here it is. Takes around 5 to 10 seconds. So if you see a high ISO picture taken with 5D Mark IV, don't freak out. Just give it 5 to 10 minutes, 10 seconds, 5 to 10 seconds for it to process it. Now, the redness we saw earlier disappeared. This is shot at 32,000. I would totally accept this in any circumstances. Maybe, you know, for a certain kind of pictures, maybe I wouldn't want to do this for fitness, you know, the guns one. And I probably wouldn't want to do it for food. If it is shooting for a restaurant, I'll probably do it for cookbook, maybe. Outdoor. To make it more poetic, probably do that. So let's just look at the background, not my face, because my skin, it's somewhat properly exposed earlier. Let's look at 0 again. Man. So I have to use... Yeah, it's quite accurately exposed. I think it's a little bit over around here, but just a hint. So we're just looking at the hair, my dress, and the backdrop. So it's still quite nice. Let's go back. Here, 1/3, 66-ish. Yeah, it looks quite nice. Can we make it bigger? This is the problem of using a new program. The program itself is not new. I'm new to it. There's a learning curve for everything. I guess I have to learn it. The background looks quite nice. Let's go to 1. Okay. Do I have to do quick check? I can't do quick check. How do I expand it? Now don't freak out. It's just, it needs seconds to process. Oh, here. This is how we can examine it. But it needs time. This wouldn't be a problem. This is how a Mark II would actually look like. All these, you know, red, green, blue patches all around the image would be a problem in Mark II, but not here. Let's look at the eye. Looks quite nice. Let's look at the lips. Oh, sorry, we're not we're looking at the hair and the dress. And the dress. It's pretty good. I mean, this is a denim dress, and you can see the pattern, the woven. Let's look at the back. It doesn't have patches of colors that are just so obvious. So this is quite lovely. So this is a quick review on the, not review, a review on high ISO, and I quite like the performance. I think, I don't know, I talked to Canon's guys and they say DBP is a very powerful program, and I'm honestly very new to DBP. I'm more used to Capture One and even Lightroom and Photoshop, and even Adobe Raw. I'm better than using DBP. And so, judging from the raw image on itself, I like this so much better than, but it's a no-brainer. I was upgrading from 5D Mark II to 5D Mark IV, so it's a no-brainer for me to do this. Yesterday I met with another photographer. We were talking about using camera. He likes Canon a lot, but he has been using his Nikon for years. And I asked him, why don't you change it? He said, we took courses from the same teacher years ago. And he said, this is what our Sifu said, right? When the camera becomes your breath, then you can free up everything that you have. And I think that is exactly what I say. And it's not just me, I'm very sure that almost every other photographer would say the same thing. If you have not bought it, depends on what kind of camera you have, you might want to think about this one. I really do like it. It could be because I bought it and that's why I love it. It could be because of that. But judging from the performance, I'm trying to imagine the kind of pictures that I like taking. Studio images with both natural light and constant light and strobe. Also outdoor overseas images. The reason I kept on saying overseas images is that Hong Kong has a lot of really tall buildings. It's not ideal sometimes, I find, to do street portraits. Street photo is different from street portrait. When if I were to travel to Europe and I would do these pictures, I always like to shoot without flashes, because to me, that is embracing what the environment is giving me. I want to work with the environment instead of me bringing. It's like when I go, it's almost like I go to a Parisian restaurant and then I bring my Chinese food into the restaurant and eat my Chinese food. Does it make any sense? Like when I shoot on the street, I usually like to do it without, especially overseas, without any artificial lights, and I like to see whatever the environment has to offer. So high ISO is definitely very useful for me, and I can imagine liking some of the images that I would take in the future. Wow, this is very feeling good about myself. But that's all for today. For higher ISO, it's just a quick view on what it looks like, and I know there are a lot of other photographers out there who have shown you really impressive photos. Tell me what you think about this and what you want to know more about this 5D Mark IV, and I'll talk to you guys next time about memory card. I can't promise how often I can do this. I was thinking I would do it every other day, but yesterday was Chinese Mid-Autumn Festival, so I need to spend time with my family, and I had a lot of meetings yesterday. So I'll for sure post a video on weekends, and I'll try to do more throughout the week. And that's all the time I have. Please like, share, and subscribe. My name is Cherry. Bye bye.